I get paid to hitchhike. Posted by you / interesting name 7301. Paid hitchhiker. 150/HR. 2-hour nights Monday through Friday, 8:10 p.m. I did the math in my head. About $6,500 a month. Not bad. As that thought sank in, I realized studying music theory had probably been a mistake. Still, I decided to reply to the listing. I answered a few questions, attached my resume, though I wasn't sure what good that would do, and hit send. Almost instantly, I got a response. I'd half expected that. I couldn't imagine many people jumping at this position. Thank you for your interest in the hitchhiking position. We're excited to invite you to move forward with the interview process, and we look forward to getting to know you professionally. I typed back quickly. Thanks for reaching out. I'd be glad to move forward with the interview. What dates and times work best for you? The reply came moments later. Friday, followed by a set of coordinates. I plugged them into Google Maps. The destination was a small building on a long road in the middle of a forest. On street view, the place looked distorted, almost blurred. All I could make out was a sign. No soliciting, no religion, no unscheduled meetings. It was Wednesday then. I tried to convince myself I didn't need the money, that it wasn't worth the risk. The truth was I did need the money, badly. I was drowning in debt and every last dollar would help. By Friday night, I was in my beat-up car headed toward the coordinates. When I arrived, I saw the rest of the building the street view had obscured. It was larger than I'd imagined, 2 stories and a basement, the latter revealed by the rows of windows sunk into the foundation. The whole place was gray concrete, punctuated by thin sheet metal doors. I tried the front door, locked. Knocked, no answer. So I sat on a wooden bench about 15 feet from the entrance and waited. It was 7:30, the forest nearly pitch black, when 2 pairs of headlights appeared on the driveway. From one car stepped a tall man with thinning black hair, from the other a scrawny kid, maybe 19 at most. The tall one approached first. "Hello, my name is Jeffrey." "Devin," I replied. "This is your partner, James." "Partner?" I asked. I glanced at James. He was gripping his right bicep tightly with his left hand. When he noticed me looking, he released it, raised a hesitant hand in greeting. I waved back with an awkward smile. "Yes," Jeffrey said evenly. "Your partner." After a long silence, he added, "Shall we head inside?" I nodded, and we followed him in. The interior was exactly what I'd pictured, bare concrete walls, dim light, and a single desk in the middle of the room. Jeffrey took a seat, and James and I sat opposite him. "Can I ask you both a question?" Jeffrey said, pen poised above a sheet of paper. We nodded. "What was the most scared you've ever been?" I hesitated, hoping James would answer first. He didn't. "My house was broken into when I was 16, I said, giving a small, nervous laugh at the end. Jeffrey scribbled something down, then he turned to James. "I don't know," James muttered. Jeffrey studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Very well, shall we get you both suited up?" We exchanged a glance and answered, "Sure." He led us to a small room with a closet and 2 changing booths. Handing me a bag of ragged, tattered clothing, he gestured for me to change. Inside the booth, I slipped into the clothes. They looked filthy but smelled surprisingly clean. When I stepped out, I saw James. He was dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, spotless and elegant. We stared at each other in confusion. Jeffrey just grinned, wide and satisfied. "Perfect," he said. "Devin, follow me, please. We'll need to touch up your look a bit more." He guided me toward another door leading down to the basement. At the center of the room stood a red vanity table stocked with makeup. "Sit," Jeffrey instructed. I sat. Staring at myself in the mirror, I wondered how on earth I'd ended up here. Jeffrey went to work with brushes and sponges, moving with the ease of experience. When he finished, my reflection looked ragged, my face dirtied, hair greasy, eyes sunken. We went back upstairs. "Your turn," Jeffrey said to James. James descended into the basement as I waited. When he reappeared, his transformation was startling. His hair was neatly combed, his skin glowing, his eyes an unnatural bright blue, contacts, I guessed. Jeffrey clasped his hands together. "Now a few rules before you head out." He recited them one by one. "Never enter the black truck, even if it seems like your last hope. If you ever see a man identical to yourself, get into the car, nod to him, and exit immediately. If the radio is set to 99.3, get out of the car no matter how fast it's moving. Never allow your driver to pick up another hitchhiker." "Everything clear?" We both nodded. "Wonderful, please follow me." He led us to his car, opening the front passenger seat and one of the back doors. James hesitated, so I took the front. "We'll head to your site first, James," Jeffrey said. "Okay," James murmured. We drove through darkness in silence until a bench appeared by the roadside, identical to the one I'd waited on earlier. "Your stop," Jeffrey said. James stepped out, sat on the bench, and stuck out his thumb. "Onwards to your site," Jeffrey told me. As we drove, I finally asked what had been nagging at me. "Why did James get the nice makeover? Wouldn't I be better suited to play the businessman? I mean, the kid's a twig." Jeffrey ignored me at first, eyes fixed on the road. Then he smiled, put the car in park, and leaned over me to pop open my door. "Remember to tell them to bring you right back to the building," he said. "You didn't tell James that," I pointed out. "Don't worry," Jeffrey replied. "He knows." I figured he'd gone over more rules with James during his makeover. I stepped out and sat on the bench. About 30 minutes passed before I saw headlights. I stuck my thumb out, but the car flew past, not even slowing. 10 minutes later, the woods behind me stirred. At first, just rustling. Then twigs snapping, something pacing, circling. The sound of deliberate movement, closer each time I ignored it. And then the black truck arrived. It didn't appear down the road like a normal vehicle. It was there, headlights already blazing, horn already screaming. The air itself seemed to vibrate from the sound. The beams of light blinded me, catching every raindrop, every speck of dust in their glare. I shielded my face as the truck crept toward me. The horn blared again, long, metallic, almost animal in howling pitch. "Get the hell in!" a voice shrieked from inside. Not one voice, but dozens, layered over each other, all mismatched in tone but perfectly in unison. Through the windshield, shadows moved violently like a crowd crammed into a space meant for one driver. Faces slammed against the glass, mouths wide, eyes wide, distorted. I couldn't breathe. My legs felt like they were tied down, every instinct screaming at me to run, but I stayed rooted. The truck edged closer, engine rumbling, horns stabbing through the night again and again. "Get in, get in, get in!" The forest behind me fell silent, as if whatever had been lurking stepped back to give the truck room. I sat perfectly still, fingers digging into the bench. I don't know how long it lasted. Time felt suspended, the horn pressing into my skull like a migraine. Finally, the headlights clicked off. The voices stopped. The truck was gone, no sound of an engine retreating, just gone. I was alone again. Another 20 minutes passed before I saw the next car. It crawled along the road at an unnatural pace, 15 mph at most. No sound of an engine, just tires crunching gravel. When it reached me, the driver's window rolled down, and I saw myself, not just a resemblance, me. Identical down to the tattered clothes, the smeared makeup, even the way I hunched forward on bad posture. His eyes locked on mine. He didn't smile, didn't wave, just waited. The silence was unbearable. I walked toward the car. My stomach flipped, but I couldn't stop. I opened the passenger door, stepped in, and sat. We didn't speak. He didn't look at me again. He simply tapped the wheel twice with one hand, like a signal. I nodded back, throat tight. The moment I closed the door, he pressed the gas, the car jolting forward with impossible speed. But after no more than 100 feet, he braked, and I knew get out. I opened the door, stepped into the night, and the car was already gone. No tail lights, no trace, just emptiness where it had been. I exhaled shakily, realizing I'd been holding my breath the whole time. Finally, a normal car appeared. The driver leaned out. "Where to?" "Just up the road," I said quickly, desperate to leave. For a moment I panicked. I hadn't checked the radio. My head snapped toward it. 112.7, safe. Relief washed over me like air after drowning. On the way back, the driver squinted at the roadside. "Jesus, what happened to that guy?" he muttered. I followed his gaze and my heart collapsed. James. He was sprawled out in the gravel, one arm twitching weakly, blood spreading in a dark halo beneath him. His white shirt, once perfect, was soaked red. His face was pale, slack, but his eyes were still open, still alive. "Stop the car," I yelled. The driver slowed, uneasy. "I don't know, man, stop." I threw the door open before the car even halted, stumbling onto the shoulder and running to him. James, it's me." He turned his head with visible effort, his lips trembling like he was trying to form words. A wet cough sprayed crimson down his chin. His hand shook as it reached toward me. I gripped it tight, but his grip was ice cold, already fading. He coughed, body shuddering. "Don't let them." His eyes darted toward the trees as if something was watching us, then back to me, wide and terrified. "Promise me." I promise," I said, though I had no idea what he meant. His chest rose once more, then faltered. His body went slack, nothing, just the trickle of blood running downhill, soaking into the gravel. Behind me, the driver called out nervously, "Hey, man, we should go." Seriously, we should go. I pressed James' hand to my chest one last time before laying it down. My own hands were trembling so badly I could barely stand. Tears blurred my vision as I staggered back to the car. I didn't speak for the rest of the ride. When Jeffrey greeted me back at the building with his usual cheer, I could barely contain myself. "Did you see James?" he asked lightly. "He's dead," I snapped, voice cracking. Jeffrey only tilted his head, almost like he was amused. "Oh, what a shame." "Don't stay the night." "That's it, that's all you have to say? I told you not to worry about your partners, Devin. It does no good." I wanted to scream at him, but the words died in my throat. Instead, I turned and left. The drive back home was silent. My knuckles were white on the steering wheel, James' last words echoing in my head. The forest road stretched endlessly, a tunnel of black trees pressing in on both sides. That's when I saw him. A lone figure on the shoulder, illuminated in my headlights. He was filthy, long, tangled beard, patchy, buzzed scalp, and clothes that looked like they'd been torn to shreds weeks ago. He was already standing with his thumb out, arms stiff like it had been raised for hours. I slowed instinctively. Something about him made my stomach twist. His eyes glinted in the light, too sharp, too deliberate. I pressed on the gas, deciding to pass him. The moment I did, his head snapped toward me. His eyes followed my car perfectly, his body jerking into motion. He ran. I glanced in the mirror and nearly swerved. The man was sprinting after me, barefoot, stumbling, but impossibly fast. His mouth hung open, teeth bared, and his voice carried through the trees. "Coward!" he bellowed, the word ragged, broken by wheezes. I floored it, but his voice didn't fade. "Coward, you'll end like the rest!" I couldn't stop shaking. My speedometer climbed, but still his figure clung to the road in my mirror longer than it should have. Too long. Felt like a mile, he was gone. The forest swallowed him, but his voice lingered in my ears like static. Coward, coward, end like the rest. By the time I got home, my hands still hadn't stopped trembling. I went to bed without changing, face pressed into the pillow, heart pounding. 2 months passed. Jeffrey replaced James again and again, but none lasted longer than a week. Some came back bruised and broken, others simply didn't come back at all. Jeffrey never flinched, he only smiled, adjusted his notes, and prepared another partner, and I kept returning. Night after night, each ride gnawed away at me. The rules ran laps in my head even when I was home, as if the job followed me there. Tomorrow night, I've decided I'm going to talk to Jeffrey about quitting. I've already rehearsed how I'll say it, firm, polite, like it's just a simple resignation. I hope he understands. Thank you for watching. As always, make sure to like and subscribe for more Reddit stories. Until next time.